Marcus Tucker's eyes snap open as his ship slams into the arid surface of Rama. Alarms blare, metal screeches. The cockpit fills with acrid smoke. He's trapped on a desert planet, unaware that he's about to encounter gorgeous alien girls who've never seen males. The 28-year-old astronaut struggles against his restraints, head pounding from the impact. His solo exploration mission has gone catastrophically wrong. As consciousness fades in and out, Marcus takes stock of his dire situation. The ship's systems are dead. Communication arrays destroyed. He's stranded on an alien world with dwindling supplies and no way to call for help. Miles away, Opal's ears prick up at the distant boom. The 25-year-old Raymens scout leader scans the horizon, her large eyes adapted to the harsh glare of Rama's twin suns. She spots a plume of smoke rising in the distance. There, she points, her voice carrying easily in the still desert air. Something's crashed. Opal's team of 4 other Raymens scouts turn to look, their lithe, athletic bodies tense with anticipation. In their isolated existence on Rama, any anomaly could spell danger or opportunity. We should investigate, Opal decides, her curiosity overriding caution. The others exchange wary glances but follow their leader. Their feet barely leave imprints in the sand as they move with inhuman speed and grace towards the crash site. Back at the wreckage, Marcus regains consciousness. He tastes blood. His parched throat screams for water. With trembling hands, he unclips his harness and stumbles from the smoking ruins of his ship. The intense heat hits him like a wall. 2 suns blaze overhead in an alien sky. Marcus squints, shielding his eyes as he surveys the desolate landscape. Endless dunes stretch to the horizon. No signs of life, no hint of rescue. He doesn't know that Earth's space agency has already detected his ship's disappearance. Engineers and scientists scramble to assemble a rescue mission, knowing that every hour decreases Marcus's chances of survival on the unknown world. Opal's team crests a dune, bringing the crash site into view. They pause, assessing the strange metal contraption half buried in the sand. "Careful," Opal warns as they approach. Their enhanced senses detect no immediate threats, but the situation is unprecedented. Marcus hears the soft crunch of footsteps. He whirls, stumbling in his weakened state. 5 figures emerge from the heat haze. His eyes widen. They're humanoid, but clearly alien. Female forms, slender yet strong, skin shimmering with an opalescent sheen. Large almond-shaped eyes regard him with a mixture of fascination and wariness. Opal steps forward, studying the bizarre creature before her. Never in Ramen history have they encountered a male of any species. She takes in Marcus's broader shoulders, the stubble on his jaw, his alien clothing. He's injured, dehydrated, vulnerable. Marcus raises his hands in a gesture of peace. He tries to speak, but his parched throat produces only a croak. The aliens confer in musical tones he can't understand. One seems to argue for caution, gesturing back towards distant dunes. But Opal silences the dissent with a sharp command. She approaches Marcus slowly. Their eyes meet. An unspoken connection sparks between 2 beings from vastly different worlds. Opal reaches out, her cool fingers brushing Marcus's arm. He sways, strength finally giving out. As Marcus collapses, Opal catches him with surprising strength. She barks orders to her team. Despite protests, they carefully lift the unconscious human. Opal has made her decision. They'll bring this strange male creature back to their underground city. As the Raymens carry Marcus across the scorching sands, word of their discovery races ahead. In the vast caverns and tunnels of their subterranean home, excitement and fear spread like wildfire. The arrival of this alien male will challenge everything the Raymens thought they knew about their place in the universe. And for Marcus Tucker, marooned astronaut, a journey of survival, discovery, and unexpected connection is only just beginning. As the Raymens carry Marcus across the scorching sands, his consciousness fades in and out. The intense heat and his injuries take their toll, and he slips into a deep, dreamless sleep. When Marcus finally stirs, he finds himself in a vastly different environment. Gone are the burning suns and endless dunes. Instead, he awakens in a dimly lit, cavernous chamber. The air is cool and damp, a stark contrast to the arid desert above. As his eyes adjust to the low light, Marcus becomes aware of the soft hum of unfamiliar machinery surrounding him. He tries to sit up but finds his body weak and unresponsive. Panic rises in his throat as he realizes he's connected to several strange devices. Their purpose is a mystery, but they emit a soft, pulsing glow that bathes the room in an ethereal light. A movement across the room catches his attention. It's Opal, the alien scout leader who found him in the desert. She stands near the entrance, her opalescent skin shimmering in the dim light. Her large almond-shaped eyes study him with a mixture of curiosity and concern. Marcus attempts to speak, but his parched throat produces only a raspy croak. Opal approaches cautiously, her movements fluid and graceful. She picks up a container filled with a clear liquid and brings it to Marcus's lips. The cool water soothes his throat, and he drinks greedily. "Thank you," Marcus manages to say, his voice hoarse. Opal tilts her head, clearly not understanding his words. She responds in her own melodious language, the sounds unlike anything Marcus has ever heard. Despite the language barrier, her tone is gentle and reassuring. Over the next few days, Marcus drifts in and out of consciousness. Each time he wakes, he finds himself surrounded by Raymens medical staff. They move with purpose, adjusting equipment and examining him with strange instruments. At the center of this activity is Dr. Zira, a Raymen with an air of authority and experience. Her touch is gentle but clinical as she tends to Marcus's injuries. During one of his more lucid moments, Marcus observes Dr. Zira and her team in an animated discussion. They gesture towards various readouts and scans, their expressions a mix of excitement and confusion. Marcus catches Opal's eye, and she approaches his bedside. Opal places a hand on Marcus's arm, her touch cool against his skin. She speaks slowly, clearly trying to convey something important. Marcus shakes his head, frustrated by his inability to understand. Opal's brow furrows in concentration, then she reaches for a small device on a nearby table. The device projects a holographic image between them. It shows a simplified diagram of two bodies, one clearly Raymen, the other unmistakably human. Opal points to the differences, her fingers tracing the variations in anatomy. Marcus nods, beginning to understand. His arrival has presented the Raymens with a physiological puzzle they're eager to unravel. As Marcus's strength returns, Opal becomes a constant presence in his recovery. She spends hours by his bedside, attempting to bridge the communication gap. They begin with simple gestures and drawings, slowly building a rudimentary vocabulary. Opal brings in various objects from around the medical chamber, naming each one in her language and encouraging Marcus to repeat the words. Their lessons take a leap forward when Opal introduces a Raymen learning device. It's a sleek, handheld object that responds to touch and voice commands. As Marcus interacts with it, holographic images and sounds fill the air around them. The device adapts to his responses, tailoring its lessons to his progress. With this tool, Marcus's grasp of the Raymen language accelerates rapidly. During these sessions, Marcus can't help but be drawn to Opal. Her patience and enthusiasm are infectious, and he finds himself looking forward to their time together. He notices the way her skin seems to shimmer with different hues depending on her mood, and how her large eyes sparkle with intelligence and curiosity. As Marcus's health improves, Dr. Zira begins to allow him short periods out of bed. Opal is there to support him as he takes his first tentative steps in the low gravity of the underground city. She leads him to a viewport that looks out into a vast cavern, and Marcus gasps at the sight. The Raymen city stretches out before him, a marvel of organic architecture and advanced technology. Bioluminescent plants provide soft, ambient lighting throughout the cavern. Sleek structures rise from the cavern floor, their surfaces adorned with intricate patterns that seem to pulse with life. Raymen citizens move about their daily lives, their graceful forms a stark reminder of how far from home Marcus truly is. Opal watches Marcus's reaction with interest, her hand still supporting his arm. She begins to explain aspects of their society, pointing out key locations in the city below. Marcus listens intently, his mind racing with questions about this alien world. As they stand there taking in the view, a commotion erupts behind them. A group of Raymens enters the medical chamber, led by a regal-looking figure adorned in elaborate robes. Opal straightens, her posture becoming more formal. She whispers a name to Marcus, Matriarch Lyra. The matriarch approaches, her piercing gaze fixed on Marcus. She speaks rapidly to Opal, who responds with deference, but also a hint of defensiveness. Marcus can only guess at the content of their conversation, but he senses that his presence in the city is a matter of intense debate. Matriarch Lyra turns her attention to Marcus, studying him with an unreadable expression. After a long moment, she nods decisively and issues what sounds like a series of commands to those around her. Opal's posture relaxes slightly, and she gives Marcus a small, reassuring smile. As the matriarch and her entourage depart, Opal explains to Marcus that he has been granted limited freedom to explore the city under her supervision. It's clear that this decision is controversial, as Marcus notices some of the medical staff exchanging worried glances. Opal gently tugs on Marcus's arm, indicating that it's time to leave the medical chamber. As they step out into the wider corridors of the Raymens city, Marcus feels a mix of excitement and trepidation. He's about to see firsthand the wonders of this alien world, but he's acutely aware of the eyes watching his every move. With Opal by his side, Marcus takes his first steps into the heart of Raymens civilization, unaware of the cultural storm his presence is about to unleash. As they navigate through the bustling corridors, Marcus marvels at the intricate bioluminescent patterns adorning the walls and the graceful efficiency of Raymen daily life. Their exploration is cut short by a citywide announcement. Matriarch Lyra's voice echoes through the caverns, calling for a public forum to address Marcus's presence. Opal's grip on Marcus's arm tightens imperceptibly as she translates the message. "This is unprecedented," she explains, her voice tinged with worry. The matriarch rarely calls for such gatherings. The central cavern fills rapidly as thousands of Raymens converge, their shimmering forms creating a sea of iridescence. Marcus and Opal find themselves at the center, acutely aware of the countless eyes upon them. Matriarch Lyra stands on an elevated platform, her elaborate robes catching the light of the bioluminescent flora surrounding her. As the forum begins, various factions step forward to voice their opinions. Counselor Vex, her features sharp with distrust, addresses the crowd first. "This alien's presence threatens the very fabric of our society," she declares, gesturing towards Marcus. "Already we see unrest growing among our people. How can we trust a being so fundamentally different from ourselves?" Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Marcus feels a pang of unease, recognizing the fear in many Raymen faces. But before the sentiment can take root, Dr. Zira steps forward, her demeanor calm and authoritative. "While Counselor Vex speaks of threats, I see opportunity," she begins, activating a holographic display. "Our studies of Marcus's physiology have yielded fascinating results. His unique biological makeup could hold the key to solving our fertility crisis." The revelation sends shockwaves through the assembly. Marcus turns to Opal, questioning. She explains in hushed tones about the Raymens' declining birth rates, a problem that has plagued their civilization for generations. As the debate intensifies, a piercing alarm cuts through the air. The cavern's early warning system flashes urgent signals across holographic screens. Panic erupts as an automated voice announces the detection of an approaching spacecraft. Matriarch Lyra's voice rises above the chaos. "Calm yourselves. We must respond with wisdom, not fear. Opal, assemble your team. Marcus, your knowledge may be crucial. You will accompany them to the surface." Within moments, Marcus finds himself in a sleek Raymen vehicle, racing through twisting tunnels towards the surface. Opal sits beside him, her features set with commitment. As they emerge into the harsh Raymen daylight, Marcus gasps. The intensity of the twin suns sears his eyes, and abrasive winds whip sand against the vehicle's exterior. "Now you understand why we live below," Opal shouts over the howling wind. As they approach the landing site, Marcus spots a familiar silhouette descending through the atmosphere. His heart races with a mix of relief and apprehension. "It's one of ours," he tells Opal. "A rescue mission, most likely." The human ship touches down in a cloud of sand and dust. Raymen guards take defensive positions, their weapons trained on the vessel's airlock. Marcus steps forward as the door hisses open, revealing Captain Elena Rodriguez and her crew. "Marcus Tucker," Elena calls out, her voice a mix of relief and confusion. "Thank God you're alive. But what in the world is going on here?" Marcus raises his hands in a calming gesture, acutely aware of the tension surrounding them. "Captain, welcome to Rama. I know this is a shock, but I need you to stay calm. We're in a first contact situation here." Elena's eyes widen as she takes in the alien forms of the Raymens. Her hand instinctively moves towards her sidearm, but Marcus shakes his head emphatically. "These people saved my life, Captain. They're not hostile, but they are cautious. Let me explain the situation." As Marcus briefs Elena on his crash, rescue, and the complex dynamics of Riemann society, Opal observes the interaction with fascination. The easy rapport between male and female humans challenges everything she's ever known about social structures. Elena listens intently, her expression shifting from disbelief to excitement. "Marcus, do you realize what this means? The discovery of intelligent life? It changes everything. We need to establish diplomatic relations immediately." Opal steps forward, her translator device at the ready. "I am Opal, scout leader of Rama. Our matriarch is willing to engage in preliminary talks, but access to our city must remain restricted for now." Elena nods, understanding the delicacy of the situation. "Of course, we're grateful for the opportunity to open a dialogue." As preparations for the diplomatic talks begin, Marcus finds himself torn. The arrival of the human ship offers a chance to return home, to the life he knew. Yet as he looks at Opal, he feels a pull he can't ignore. The life he's built here, the connection he's formed with her, and this alien world, it's become a part of him. Opal seems to sense his inner conflict. She places a cool hand on his arm, her large eyes searching his face. "You have a choice to make," she says softly. Before Marcus can respond, Counselor Vex's voice cuts through the air. She stands at the edge of the gathering, her followers behind her. "This is precisely what we feared. More aliens, more threats to our way of life. We cannot allow this to continue." As Vex's words incite murmurs of agreement among some Raymens, Marcus realizes that the true challenges are just beginning. The future of human-Riemann relations hangs in the balance, and he finds himself at the very center of this interstellar drama. Diplomatic crisis. Marcus takes a deep breath, acutely aware that his next words could shape the future of two worlds. "Counselor Vex," he begins, his voice firm but not confrontational. "I understand your concerns, but I assure you, we're not here as a threat. We're here to learn, to understand, and to forge a peaceful relationship between our peoples." Vex's eyes narrow, her skin pulsing with a deep, angry red. "Pretty words from an alien who knows nothing of our ways. Your very presence here endangers everything we've built." Before the situation can escalate further, Matriarch Lyra steps forward, her commanding presence silencing the murmurs of the crowd. "Enough. We will discuss these matters in the council chambers. Captain Rodriguez, Marcus, Opal, you will join us. The rest of you, return to your duties." As the crowd disperses, Marcus catches Opal's eye. She gives him a small nod, a gesture of reassurance amidst the chaos. They follow Lyra and the others into a nearby transport, descending back into the underground city. The council chambers are a marvel of Riemann architecture, with sweeping organic forms and pulsating bioluminescent patterns that seem to respond to the emotions in the room. As the delegates take their seats, Marcus can feel the weight of history pressing down on him. Captain Rodriguez speaks first, her voice steady and diplomatic. "Matriarch Lyra, honored council members, we propose a cultural exchange program. A small group of humans would stay here on Rama, learning about your society, while we would host a delegation of Raymens on Earth. This could foster understanding between our peoples and pave the way for future cooperation." The chamber erupts into a cacophony of voices, some excited, others outraged. Counselor Vex leaps to her feet, her skin now a turbulent swirl of red and black. "Absolutely not. We cannot allow these aliens to corrupt our youth with their foreign ideas. And sending our own people to their world? It's unconscionable." Matriarch Lyra raises a hand, silencing the room. "We will consider this proposal carefully. For now, let us focus on more immediate concerns. Dr. Zira, what progress have you made in your research? Dr. Zira steps forward, activating a holographic display. Matriarch, esteemed council, I have exciting news. Our studies of Marcus's physiology have yielded promising results. We believe that controlled genetic mixing between humans and Raymens could provide a solution to our fertility crisis. The chamber goes deathly silent for a moment before exploding into chaos. Marcus watches as Riemann faces shift through a kaleidoscope of colors, reflecting shock, hope, and disgust in equal measure. Opal turns to him, her eyes wide with a mix of emotions he can't quite decipher. Marcus, she whispers, do you understand what this means? You could be the key to saving our species. Before he can respond, Counselor Vex's voice cuts through the din. This is madness. You would have us pollute our bloodlines with alien DNA? I will not stand for this abomination. As Vex's supporters voice their agreement, Marcus notices a shift in the room. Many Raymens who had been wary of the humans now look at them with newfound interest, even hope. The once unified opposition is fracturing before his eyes. Matriarch Lyra calls for order, her voice resonating with authority. We will not make hasty decisions. This information requires careful consideration. For now, we will proceed with caution. Captain Rodriguez, your people may establish a small encampment on the surface. Opal, you will lead a team to monitor their activities and ensure compliance with our regulations. As the meeting adjourns, Marcus feels a tap on his shoulder. Captain Rodriguez pulls him aside, her expression serious. Marcus, I need you to make a decision. You can return home with us, help with the exchange program from Earth, or you can stay here as our liaison, but I need to know where your loyalties lie. Marcus glances at Opal, who's watching the exchange with barely concealed interest. He thinks of the life he left behind on Earth, the familiarity and comfort of home. Then he looks around at the wonders of Riemann civilization, the mysteries yet to be unraveled, and the bonds he's forged here. Captain, he says finally, I think I can do the most good here. I'll stay on Rama, at least for now. Rodriguez nods, a mix of understanding and concern in her eyes. All right, but be careful, Marcus. Things are volatile here. Watch your back. As the human delegation prepares to return to the surface, Marcus notices Opal deep in conversation with a group of Raymens scouts. Her posture is tense, her gestures sharp and urgent. When she catches him looking, she quickly ends the conversation and approaches. Marcus, she says, her voice low, I need to talk to you, privately. They find a quiet alcove away from the bustling corridors. Opal's skin shimmers with anxiety as she speaks. I've been assigned to monitor the human encampment, but Marcus, something doesn't feel right. Some of my scouts have reported unusual activity, patterns that don't match what we've been told about your people's intentions. Marcus feels a chill run down his spine. What kind of activity? Opal hesitates, then pulls out a small device. It projects a series of images, human crew members taking soil samples, scanning Riemann defensive positions, cataloging resources. It looks like they're surveying our defenses and resources. Marcus, I want to trust you, but I need to know, is this standard procedure for your people? Marcus studies the images, his mind racing. Some of the activities could be innocent scientific curiosity, but others, he thinks of Earth's history, of first contacts gone wrong, of exploitation and colonization. Opal, he says carefully, I don't know what to make of this, but I promise you, I'll find out what's going on. We need to be careful how we handle this information. If it falls into the wrong hands, it could destroy everything we're trying to build here. As they stand there, the weight of their shared secret hanging between them, alarms begin to blare throughout the city. Emergency lights pulse in urgent patterns along the walls. Opal's communication device chirps with an incoming message. Her eyes widen as she listens. Marcus, she says, her voice tight with fear. It's Vex. She and her followers have taken control of the water purification system. They're threatening to cut off the city's water supply unless all humans are immediately expelled from Rama. Marcus feels the ground shift beneath his feet as the crisis he'd feared finally erupts. In that moment, he knows that the choices he makes in the coming hours will determine not just his fate, but the future of two worlds. The alarms continue to wail, a soundtrack to the unfolding chaos as Marcus and Opal exchange a look of unshakable focus. The real test of their bond, and of the fledgling human-Riemann alliance, is about to begin. The real test of their bond, and of the fledgling human-Riemann alliance, is about to unfold. Marcus and Opal sprint through the pulsating corridors, the alarms wail echoing off the organic walls. They reach the central hub, where chaos reigns. Raymens security forces rush to secure vital systems, while panicked civilians crowd the walkways. Matriarch Lyra's holographic image materializes before them, her usually serene features etched with concern. Marcus, Opal, we need your expertise. Vex has seized control of the water purification system. If we don't act quickly, the entire city will be without clean water in hours. Marcus nods, his mind already racing through potential solutions. We've been working on an alternative purification method. It's not complete, but it might be our best shot. Do it, Lyra commands. I'm authorizing full access to any resources you need. As they hurry towards their research facility, Captain Rodriguez intercepts them. Marcus, what's the situation? How can we help? He hesitates, acutely aware of the delicate balance between cooperation and maintaining Raymen autonomy. Captain, we need to tread carefully. Any overt human intervention could inflame tensions further. Rodriguez nods, understanding the subtext. We'll stand by, ready to assist if requested officially. Opal leads them through a series of lesser-known passages, bypassing the main thoroughfares clogged with frightened Raymens. They arrive at their lab to find it in disarray, equipment toppled, data crystals scattered across the floor. Vex's followers, Opal hisses, her skin flushing an angry crimson. They tried to sabotage our work. Marcus surveys the damage, relief washing over him as he spots their primary prototype intact. It's still here. We can make this work. They set to work, Marcus's human ingenuity complementing Opal's deep knowledge of Raymen biology and technology. Hours blur together as they race against time, the distant sounds of conflict echoing through the cavern walls. Suddenly, an explosion rocks the facility. Acrid smoke fills the air as a section of the ceiling collapses, narrowly missing them. Opal pulls Marcus to safety as chunks of bioengineered rock crash around them. We're cut off, she says, coughing. The main exit is blocked. Marcus examines their predicament, noting the toxic fumes seeping from ruptured pipes. We need to seal this section and finish the activation. It's our only chance. Working in tandem, they manage to isolate their area, stemming the flow of poisonous gas. With renewed urgency, they make the final adjustments to their purification system. It's ready, Marcus announces, his hand hovering over the activation switch. Opal, if this works... She places her hand over his, their eyes meeting in a moment of shared tenacity. Together, they initiate the system. For a breathless moment, nothing happens. Then, a low hum fills the air as purified water begins to flow through the new conduits. Marcus and Opal embrace, their bodies pressed together in relief and something more, a connection deepened by shared danger and triumph. Their moment is interrupted by the crackle of Opal's communicator. Matriarch Lyra's voice comes through, tinged with both relief and urgency. The new system is working, but Vex's forces are staging a counterattack. We need help. Marcus looks at Opal, seeing his own perseverance mirrored in her eyes. We're still cut off from the main city, he tells Lyra, but we might have a way through the maintenance tunnels. We can flank Vex's position. Do it, Lyra commands, but be careful. Vex is desperate, and desperate people are dangerous. As they prepare to venture into the uncharted depths of Rama's underground, Marcus feels the weight of two worlds on his shoulders. The path ahead is fraught with danger, but with Opal by his side, he's ready to face whatever challenges await in the darkness below. Marcus and Opal exchange a determined look as they prepare to venture into the uncharted depths of Rama's underground. The maintenance tunnels stretch before them, a labyrinth of twisting passages carved into the living rock of the planet. Ready? Marcus asked, double-checking the seal on his protective suit. Opal nodded, her skin rippling with a mix of anxiety and excitement. Let's go. They plunged into the narrow opening, the bioluminescent walls pulsing with a faint, eerie light. The air grew thicker as they descended, the temperature rising with each step. Sweat beaded on Marcus's forehead, his breath coming in the short gasps as they navigated the treacherous terrain. "Watch out," Opal warned, pulling Marcus back from a sudden drop. "These tunnels weren't designed for regular use. They're unstable." As if to emphasize her point, a tremor shook the passage, dislodging a shower of rocks from above. Marcus instinctively shielded Opal with his body, the two pressed together in the confined space. For a moment they stayed like that, hearts racing from more than just the near miss. "Thanks," Opal murmured, her skin flushing a deep blue. They pushed on, the tunnels becoming increasingly treacherous. Pockets of noxious gas forced them to rely on their protective gear, the filters working overtime to keep the air breathable. Despite the danger, Marcus found himself marveling at the alien beauty of their surroundings. Crystal formations glittered in hidden alcoves, and strange phosphorescent fungi clung to the walls. "Opal," he said, his voice low with wonder, "how much of this has your people explored?" She shook her head. "Very little. These depths have been off limits for generations. There are old stories of dangers lurking down here, but I always thought they were just tales to keep children from wandering too far." As they ventured deeper, the environmental conditions grew harsher. The heat became almost unbearable, and Marcus could feel the sweat pooling inside his suit. They paused to rest in a small cavern, taking sips of water from their dwindling supplies. "We must be getting close," Opal said, studying a holographic map projected from her wrist device. "Vex couldn't have gone much further without specialized equipment." Marcus nodded, wiping condensation from his visor. "Let's hope we can reason with her. The last thing we need is more violence." They resumed their journey, the passage narrowing until they were forced to crawl on hands and knees. Suddenly, Opal froze, her antennae quivering. "Wait," she hissed. "Do you hear that?" Marcus strained his ears, picking up a faint rhythmic sound echoing through the rock. "Machinery?" "Yes," Opal confirmed. "We must be approaching Vex's hideout." They crept forward, the sound growing louder. As they rounded a bend, the tunnel opened into a vast cavern that took Marcus's breath away. Ancient Raymen technology hummed and pulsed, creating a self-contained ecosystem. Vex's followers moved about purposefully, tending to various stations and equipment. "Incredible," Marcus whispered. "They've created a sustainable habitat down here." Opal's eyes widened as she took in the scene. "This technology, it's beyond anything we use in the city. Where did Vex find it?" Before Marcus could respond, an alarm blared through the cavern. They'd been spotted. "Intruders!" a voice shouted. "Seal the entrances!" Marcus and Opal scrambled for cover as Vex's loyalists rushed to secure the area. They found themselves trapped behind a cluster of crystal formations, the sound of approaching footsteps growing louder. "What now?" Opal asked, her skin shifting to a camouflage pattern that blended with their surroundings. Marcus's mind raced, assessing their options. "We need to get to those control panels," he said, gesturing to a bank of ancient computers. "If we can access their systems, we might be able to open a channel to the city and call for backup." Opal nodded, her expression resolute. "I'll create a diversion. You make a run for the controls." Before Marcus could protest, Opal darted out from their hiding spot, her body shifting colors rapidly to draw attention. Shouts of surprise and confusion erupted from Vex's followers as they gave chase. Marcus seized the opportunity, sprinting towards the control panels. He reached them just as a group of Raymens noticed his presence. Frantically, he began inputting commands, drawing on everything he'd learned about Raymen technology. "Stop!" a familiar voice commanded. Marcus looked up to see Vex herself striding towards him, her skin a swirling tempest of angry reds and blacks. Behind her, two of her followers dragged a struggling Opal. "You've gone too far, human," Vex snarled. "Your kind has no place here." Marcus raised his hands slowly, his mind working furiously to find a way out of this standoff. "Vex, please. We're not here to fight. We want to talk." Vex's eyes narrowed. "Talk? While your people plot to invade our world?" "That's not true," Marcus insisted. "We want to work together, to learn from each other." "Lies," Vex spat. "I've seen the evidence of your true intentions." As tensions rose, Marcus noticed something on one of the computer screens. Data scrolling by that made his heart race. He took a deep breath, knowing that what he was about to say could change everything. "Vex," he said carefully, "do you know what this technology really is? Where it came from?" Confusion flickered across Vex's face. "It's our heritage, left by our ancestors." Marcus shook his head. "It's more than that. These are spaceship systems, Vex. Your ancestors didn't evolve on Rama. They came here from the stars." The cavern fell silent as the implications of Marcus's words sank in. Vex's followers exchanged uncertain glances, their convictions shaken. "Impossible," Vex whispered, but doubt crept into her voice. "It's true," Opal chimed in, her captor's grip loosening. "Look at the data, Vex. Our people were once part of something much greater." As Vex approached the control panel, her eyes widening at the information displayed, a tremor shook the cavern. Alarms blared, and the ancient systems began to flash warning signals. "What's happening?" Vex demanded, panic edging into her voice. Marcus's fingers flew over the controls, his engineering background kicking into high gear. "The systems are overloading. This facility wasn't meant to run at full capacity for so long. If we don't shut it down, it could trigger a collapse that would destroy half the underground city." Vex hesitated, torn between her mistrust of the humans and the urgent threat to her people. Finally, she made a decision. "Tell me what to do," she said. Marcus nodded, relief washing over him. "We need to initiate a controlled shutdown. Opal, I need you on the secondary systems. Vex, you take the primary controls. I'll guide you through the process." As they worked frantically to avert disaster, Marcus couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. In this moment of crisis, humans and Raymens were working together, united by a common goal. But as the facility's systems began to power down, he knew their challenges were nowhere near the end. The ground beneath them shuddered ominously, a reminder of the precarious situation they still faced. Marcus met Opal's eyes across the room, seeing his own mix of willpower and uncertainty reflected there. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Two species, no longer separated by mistrust, but united in the fight for survival. Survival. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Two species, no longer separated by mistrust, but united in the fight for their shared future. As the facility's systems powered down, a deafening rumble echoed through the cavern. The ground beneath their feet buckled and heaved, sending equipment crashing to the floor. Marcus lunged for Opal, pulling her close as a massive tremor shook the ancient structure to its core. "We need to get out of here," Vex shouted over the din, her skin flashing with urgent patterns of red and yellow. They scrambled towards the exit, dodging falling debris and leaping over widening cracks in the floor. The bioluminescent walls pulsed erratically, casting eerie shadows that danced across their path. Just as they reached the tunnel entrance, a thunderous crack split the air. Marcus looked up to see a massive section of the ceiling give way. "Look out!" he cried, shoving Opal and Vex forward into the relative safety of the tunnel. The world went dark as tons of rock crashed down around him. Pain exploded through his body, and he felt the searing heat of ruptured conduits nearby. Through the haze of agony, he heard Opal's frantic voice calling his name. "Marcus! Marcus, hold on!" He tried to respond, but his mouth filled with dust and debris. The weight on his chest made it nearly impossible to breathe. As consciousness began to slip away, he felt the ground beneath him shift and settle. Time blurred. Marcus drifted in and out of awareness, catching snippets of frantic activity around him. He felt hands on his body, heard the whine of cutting tools, and smelled the acrid scent of burning rock. Finally, a rush of cooler air washed over him as the last of the debris was cleared away. "We've got him!" a voice shouted. "Get the medical team in here now!" Marcus forced his eyes open, blinking against the harsh light of emergency lamps. He saw Opal's face hovering above him, her skin a kaleidoscope of worry and relief. Behind her, human and Raymen rescue workers moved in a coordinated dance, securing the area and preparing for evacuation. "Stay with me," Opal pleaded, her hand gentle on his cheek. "Help is here." He tried to speak, but a fit of coughing overtook him. The taste of copper filled his mouth, and he realized with growing alarm that he was coughing up blood. The world spun as he was carefully lifted onto a stretcher. The rescue team moved swiftly, navigating the treacherous tunnel with practiced efficiency. Marcus caught glimpses of the damage as they ascended. Collapsed passages, sparking equipment, and the eerie glow of exposed geothermal vents. As they emerged into the main cavern of the Raymens city, Marcus was struck by the scene before him. Humans and Raymens worked side by side, tending to the injured and stabilizing damaged structures. The air hummed with the sound of the emergency vehicles and the chatter of a united response effort. He felt a sharp prick in his arm and turned to see a human medic injecting him with something. "This will help with the pain," she explained, her voice calm and reassuring. "We're taking you to the medical center now." Marcus's vision began to blur, the medication taking effect. He reached out, searching for Opal's hand. She grasped it tightly, her skin cool against his feverish palm. "Don't leave me," he mumbled, fighting to stay conscious. "Never," Opal replied, her voice thick with emotion. "We're in this together, remember?" As the stretcher was loaded into a waiting transport, Marcus caught sight of Matriarch Lyra and Captain Rodriguez deep in conversation. Their faces were grim, but there was a sense of shared purpose in their stance. Even in crisis, the seeds of cooperation they had planted were beginning to take root. The transport's doors sealed, and Marcus felt the gentle hum of its engines. As they sped towards the medical center, he finally allowed himself to relax. The last thing he saw before succumbing to unconsciousness was Opal's face, her expression a mixture of concern and persistence. In the sterile confines of the state-of-the-art medical facility, a team of human and Raymen doctors worked feverishly to save Marcus and Opal's lives. Dr. Zira, a brilliant Raymen geneticist, pored over their scans with growing concern. "The radiation poisoning is severe," she announced to the assembled team. "Standard treatments won't be enough." Captain Rodriguez, who had rushed to the medical center upon hearing of their condition, stepped forward. "What are our options?" Dr. Zira's skin rippled with patterns of deep thought. "There might be a way," she said slowly, "but it's experimental and not without risk." As she outlined her proposal for a hybrid genetic therapy, the room erupted into heated debate. Human doctors argued with their Raymen counterparts, each side citing potential dangers and ethical concerns. Through it all, Matriarch Lyra stood silently, her eyes fixed on the two unconscious figures lying in their medical pods. Finally, she raised a hand, silencing the room. "Time is not on our side," she said, her voice carrying the weight of command. "Dr. Zira, proceed with your treatment. May the wisdom of our ancestors guide your hands." As the medical team sprang into action, preparing for the groundbreaking procedure, alarms began to sound throughout the facility. On a nearby monitor, security footage showed a group of human extremists attempting to breach the lower levels. Captain Rodriguez cursed under his breath. "They're after the water purification system," he growled. "We can't let them undo everything we've accomplished." Matriarch Lyra nodded grimly. "Go," she told him. "Defend our future. I'll stay here and oversee the treatment." As Rodriguez rushed out, assembling a joint human-Raymen security team, Dr. Zira began the delicate process of rewriting Marcus and Opal's genetic code. In the pods, their bodies began to change, adapting to the harsh realities of life on Rama. Outside, the sounds of conflict echoed through the corridors. The fate of two worlds hung in the balance, with Marcus and Opal at the center of it all. As their bodies fought to survive the radical transformation, neither of them could have imagined the challenges that lay ahead. Challenges that would test not only their new abilities, but also the very foundations of human-Raymen cooperation. As Marcus drifted in and out of consciousness, his body fighting against the radical changes brought on by Dr. Zira's experimental treatment, the world around him continued to evolve. The sounds of conflict that had echoed through the medical facility gradually faded, replaced by an eerie stillness, punctuated only by the steady beep of monitoring equipment. Days passed in a haze of fevered dreams and fleeting moments of lucidity. When Marcus finally opened his eyes, blinking against the harsh light of the recovery room, he found himself staring into Opal's face. Her skin shimmered with patterns of relief and concern, a visual representation of the emotions that played across her features. "Welcome back," she said softly, her hand gently squeezing his. Marcus tried to speak, but his throat felt dry and raw. Opal quickly offered him a sip of water, supporting his head as he drank. As the cool liquid soothed his parched throat, Marcus became aware of subtle changes in his body. His senses felt sharper, more attuned to the environment around him. "How long?" he managed to croak. 2 weeks, Opal replied. "The treatment was intense, but it worked, Marcus. We're alive, and we're changed." Before Marcus could ask for more details, the door slid open, admitting Dr. Zira and Captain Rodriguez. The Raymens doctor's skin rippled with excitement as she approached, her eyes scanning the readouts on Marcus's biobed. "Remarkable," she murmured. "The integration of Riemann DNA into your genetic structure is progressing even better than we'd hoped. How do you feel?" Marcus took a moment to assess himself. "Different," he said finally. "Stronger, I think. And there's something else." He trailed off, unsure how to describe the strange new awareness that seemed to hum just beneath his skin. It was as if he could sense the very pulse of the technology around him, a faint whisper of data and energy. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward, his expression a mix of relief and urgency. "I'm glad to see you both recovering," he said. "But we have a situation developing. The extremist factions are making their move, and we need your help." Opal's skin flashed with commitment. "What can we do?" As Rodriguez outlined the threat, Marcus felt a surge of energy coursing through him. Despite the lingering weakness from his ordeal, he knew they had to act. With Opal's help, he slowly sat up, swinging his legs over the side of the bed. "There's something you need to see," he said, his voice growing stronger with each word. "During the facility shutdown, I noticed patterns in the data. I think there might be more to the Raymens technology than we realized." Dr. Zira's eyes widened. "The ancient defense systems? But they've been dormant for millennia." Marcus nodded. "And now, somehow, I can feel them. It's like they're calling to us." Without further discussion, the group made their way to the command center. As they entered, Marcus and Opal gasped in unison. The once dormant consoles now pulsed with life, holographic displays shimmering in the air above them. Guided by an instinct they couldn't fully explain, Marcus and Opal approached the central control panel. As their hands touched the smooth surface, the entire room hummed to life. Streams of data flowed across the screens, and a low, resonant tone filled the air. "It's responding to us," Opal breathed, her skin rippling with awe. Marcus nodded, his fingers dancing across the controls with growing confidence. "The hybrid DNA, it's allowing us to interface with the system in a way neither humans nor Raymens could before." As they worked, deciphering the alien controls with surprising ease, alarms began to blare throughout the complex. Captain Rodriguez's comm unit crackled to life, filling the room with reports of multiple security breaches. "We're out of time," he growled. "The extremists are making their move." Marcus and Opal exchanged a determined look. "We can stop them," Marcus said, his voice filled with newfound certainty. "But we need to act now." Their fingers flew over the controls, activating long-dormant systems. The ground beneath them trembled as ancient machinery roared to life. On the main display, a map of the Raymens city appeared, dotted with pulsing red markers indicating the locations of the attackers. "Initiating citywide force field," Opal announced, her skin flashing with intense concentration. A shimmering barrier of energy sprang into existence, enveloping the entire underground metropolis. Simultaneously, Marcus accessed the communication systems, his voice echoing through every corner of the city. "Attention, citizens of Rama," he began, his words carried by the ancient technology. "This is Marcus Hallway. We have detected multiple security threats throughout the city. Please remain calm and follow the instructions of your local authorities." As Marcus continued his broadcast, exposing the extremist plots and calling for unity, Opal focused on coordinating with the security forces. Using the newly awakened defense systems, she pinpointed the exact locations of the conspirators, relaying the information to Captain Rodriguez and Matriarch Lyra. Joint human-Raymens security teams are moving into position, she reported, her skin pulsing with a mix of tension and excitement. Marcus nodded, watching the holographic display as friendly units converged on the threat markers. Let's hope we're not too late, he murmured. The next few minutes passed in a blur of activity. Marcus and Opal worked in perfect synchronization, their hybrid physiology allowing them to process and react to the flood of information with superhuman speed. They guided security teams through the labyrinthine tunnels, sealed off escape routes, and neutralized hidden weapon caches. Finally, after what felt like hours but had only been minutes, Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm. "We got them," he reported, the relief evident in his tone. "All primary targets are in custody. The immediate threat has been neutralized." A collective sigh of relief filled the command center. Marcus slumped against the console, suddenly aware of the toll their efforts had taken on his still-recovering body. Opal steadied him, her skin shimmering with a mix of exhaustion and triumph. As the adrenaline of the moment began to fade, they became aware of a growing commotion outside. Curious faces peered through the command center's windows, a mixture of humans and Raymens all staring in awe at the newly awakened technology. "I think," Dr. Zira said slowly, her eyes wide with wonder, "that this is only the beginning." Marcus and Opal exchanged a look, both sensing the truth in her words. The crisis had been averted, but the revelation of this ancient power had changed everything. As they stood there, surrounded by the humming energy of their rediscovered heritage, they knew that the future of both their peoples had been irrevocably altered. The true challenge and adventure was just beginning.
If you finished this story, please subscribe and like the video. Then leave a comment that says, "I liked the story," and I will heart every single one of them. It really helps me. Thank you for your time.